Welcome to the Executive Innovation Show podcast, where we bring you real executive conversations with industry game changers and thought leaders. We ask the questions you're thinking, what you're scared to ask, and we make your brain hurt afterward. With your host, Carrie Chitsey, co-founder and CEO of One Touch Video Chat, live video interviews, and the nonprofit Humans Helping Humans.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Knowledge Nugget. We're going to be talking about defining telehealth and talking about some use cases that are actually personal to me. So when I look at telehealth and really what does telehealth mean to me, that's what we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to give some use cases specifically to why does telehealth really mean something to me and why did I start a telehealth company, which is different than what we normally talk about on the Knowledge Nugget. But let's get started. Telehealth to me really means convenience. It means better patient outcomes. And most importantly to me, it means better caregiver experience. As a caregiver myself, having gone through the hospice experience and skilled nursing facilities as a primary caregiver for my grandmother, telehealth is really what got me to be able to stay at work some days and not have to go to a nursing home and a long-term care facility when they would call and they had issues with my grandmother. It was very easy for them to use my own technology to be able to video and put a tablet in front of my grandmother, which I left in the facility, so I could talk to her and ask specific questions that only I would know to find out how she was feeling, to be able to see her and know, was there really a change in condition? And that really got through the hospice agency that I used before she passed. They didn't have a telehealth solution. So those nurses and those providers that were in that facility on a daily basis while I was still trying to work was using our platform to be able to communicate with me instead of driving an hour to the particular location, going there to find out that I didn't need to be there to then drive back to the office. And then now I'm going through the same thing again as a caregiver experience with my father, who has stage 5 renal failure. So being able to talk to his nephrologist and all the other chronic care doctors and taking him to appointments to be able to take half of those and move those just follow-ups to telehealth for a chronic care patient, you could literally be having 2-3 appointments per week. And then you take the telepharmacy side of changing medications and hospital discharge and being able to do that through video. When you look at Gen X caregivers, yes, I'm Gen X. When you look at Gen X caregivers that are making these that are making these provider decisions, we are looking at telehealth as a time saver for us and better patient outcomes with more outreach when we're making healthcare decisions. And then the second use case I want to talk about is really about mental health. We talk about mental health. We talk about all the issues in the country that we have with mental health. When we look at youth mental health and we look at senior mental health and kind of the bookends of the mental health, there still is a huge opportunity. And if I look at my own son who sees a therapist and does it via telehealth and still did pre-COVID telehealth, for mental health, it is that checkpoint every week, whether he's in his room videoing with the therapist or taking to a physical appointment. That no-show rate is so high. So if our week is really crazy or we're traveling, he's still able to, regardless of where we are, shut the door, get on video, and have that mental health appointment. And the same goes for seniors. As we're looking at these facilities, we're looking at this isolation. That may be the only outside interaction that they have for that week, to talk to a therapist, to talk to family members, and really get that face-to-face emotional connection. So what does telehealth mean to me? That's what telehealth means to me. I hope you enjoyed today's Knowledge Nugget. I know it's a little bit different than our normal scheduled agenda. As always, subscribe to the show. We look forward to talking to you next week.
This podcast has come to a close. To hear more from the Executive Innovation Show podcast, subscribe, submit questions, and share the love. Follow us on social. We're everywhere.